Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome back to another 3D Hangout. My name is Noah Wes. I'm a designer here at Adafruit. Joining me every week is Pedro.
What's going on, everybody? I'm Pedro, Creative Tech here at Adafruit, and every week we come to share 3D printing projects featuring electronics from Adafruit.
That's right. This is where we combine 3D printing, DIY electronics, make inspirational projects for you folks. Thank you so much for joining us. Welcome to episode 195, Lego Robotics and 3D printing a boat. Thank you guys so much for joining us today. Shout out to everybody in the chat rooms. Hello everybody, we are live streaming on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Periscope. I think that's all of them, and if I forgot to mention you, sorry. But hello everybody in the chat room. We got some great people joining us today, working on some cool stuff in the background.
Shout out to all the usuals in the chat room. We got John K in the house,
Hello.
Notable Ben
Hello.
Gray from
Hello.
sunny England.
Hello.
Stuff Kirby, Dude, AC.
Hi folks.
Argan.
Thanks for joining us. Well, we're going to jump right into the show and talk about things that we did
This week's coupon code is Rover.
That's right. If you want to pick up anything at Adafruit Shop, please use coupon code Rover. Get yourself 10% off your order. We also have some freebie deals going on. If you go to adafruit.com/free, you can find out all the deals that are going on. Circuit Playground Express is back in stock.
Yes.
And another chance to get it for free if you spend more monies. Check out adafruit.com/free for the details. Same day delivery for the fine folks in New York City. That's still an option. If you need your stuff really fast and you happen to live in New York City, you don't have to wait. CircuitPython meetings happen every Monday at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. If you want to check it out, it goes up live on YouTube as well. We have a playlist, CircuitPython meeting.
Of course, you can catch it live and join in on the discussion every Monday at 2 p.m. inside of the Circuit Playground or the Circuit Python channel. Just scroll all the way down to the voice channels.
We just need a new thing that's called like Python Playground, Python Circuit.
Check it out on discord.gg/Adafruit.
Yes. We also got some newsletter, adafruitdaily.com. You can sign up for different categories: bioengineering, biohacking rather, CircuitPython, 3D printing,
Make
all that
your
stuff.
business.
Wearables.
A lot of thanks everybody subscribing to 3D printing one.
Yay. We also have a product focus one, adafruit.com/newsletter. This one happens once a week because products happen once a week. We're hanging out in the Discord server. So you want to check out, want to chill out and talk and chat. That's what Discord's about. So we're there, we're hanging out. Pedro says, good morning, folks. Northern Pike, he says, hello, world. I believe that's John K. Matt Bowl is there as well.
Got Aaron in the Bowl City representing in the house here.
Well, thank you guys for joining us. Okay.
Let's go ahead and jump into this week's really cool Lego robot-inspired project.
Yay, let me go to the learning guide. So we go to learn.adafruit.com. One of the guides there that we launched last night is Lego CRICKIT Rover. So we built a little 3D printed faceplate adapter and some mounting bits for the CRICKIT, just Adafruit's robotics platform. It's new, it's shiny, and it's easy to use, right?
So we have a couple of these on the learning guide, but this is the first one, I believe, that's all Lego.
Yeah, and CRICKIT.
Lego
right?
and CRICKIT.
Is that right? I don't know. We've made so many CRICKIT projects now, it feels like Adafruit as a whole. But hey, this one lets you use sort of your standard Lego bricks to build your own little walking robot, well, roving robot, right? So let's take a look at the page here. We have nice text and descriptions about the project and what inspired it, all these different things. It's really the base plate. The base plate is what kind of holds everything together. It's a two-piece thing. You kind of screw them together, and they have those little elements that snap into Legos. So you have those tubes and you have those studs. Studs go on the top, tubes go on the bottom. That's how they work. And these are all the parts that you need. It's not really a lot of parts. You don't necessarily need the servo if you want. That's just kind of thrown in there. But really, it's the circuit playground and the CRICKIT board that makes this work. And of course, the two motors. These motors are really inexpensive. They're like $2 each, I believe, maybe a little bit more. But they work really well for these type of projects. So those are all the parts. Hardware, you're going to need some standoffs. I would recommend getting a sort of an assortment kit of standoffs, just so you have a couple of different sizes to work with. The ones I'm using in this project, I'm actually using 2 different sizes, depending on how much Lego bricks you want to put on your thing. So I have 30 millimeter standoffs, which are really sort of long, and those will help really push that board up so you can have all these things in between the board and the faceplate. Or you could get an assortment kit. There's this one that I have linked here. It's from Amazon. It's for like $10. It goes like 180 pieces. You can get all sorts of different sizes from 6 millimeter all the way up to 20 millimeter, which tend to work out pretty well too for the more simpler Rover that doesn't have all this extra stuff in it. Hex nuts, screws, all that stuff is all linked here. I like to get my screws from Albany County Fasteners. They're a nice supplier. But if you have your own, please use them. I think they're US based, so you might want to search around for different manufacturers of screws and hardware. When it comes to power, pretty simple. We got some rechargeable batteries. These are the AA's, Amazon Basics. You can get those. And then the 4 AA battery holder. This one's really nice. It's kind of a new one. It's nice in the fact that it has the 2.1 millimeter DC jack already wired to the thing. It's open, it's sort of exposed, which is good for a project that you want to enclose. So you can just chuck it in there. It has a couple mounting holes as well. You can kind of bolt onto something. In this case, for this project, I didn't need to do any bolts. I just used bricks to hold it in place. It worked out pretty well. Prerequisite guides, if you are new to Circuit Playground Express, or the Circuit, or the CRICKIT? Oh,
CRICKIT.
Man. Sorry, don't do that again. We have some guides that talk about all the things. Take a tour for the CRICKIT. This one tells you all the things that you need to know. Here's the CRICKIT tour page. This one shows you all the pieces, all the segments, broken out, exactly how you got wiring diagrams. You have code examples, project examples, anything you need to know. Recommended parts. Here are all the speakers that work that we recommend. Here are all the servos that we recommend. That sort of stuff. Really great guide, chock full of info and goodness. So that is why it is a prerequisite guide. Let's head on over to 3D printing, right? So 3D printed parts is a nice handful of parts here. We got those 2 big face plates. We got a couple of boxes for our motor. We got a box for the servo. And then we have all these like kind of faceplate bits. These are the kind of connectors that you need to kind of glue to either of the mounting parts. So I'm going to do kind of a overhead view and take a look at these various parts and kind of some nuances about them. This is where you want to download all the STLs if you want STLs. If you want to modify the CAD parts, you want to download the Fusion 360 file. That way you can quickly modify things like the tolerances. Those are set up as user parameters, so you can literally open up a little window and type in numbers to change the thickness or whatever of the studs or the tubes. So they all have kind of those user parameters set up. Also, we have all of our components on GitHub. If you need a TT motor, if you need the CRICKIT board, if you need the Circuit Playground board, we have all those files already designed and ready for you to use if you like using CAD stuff. This is a motor. It's a TT motor. It's an STL. I clicked on the STL because you can kind of see it here, but we also have step files. We also have the Fusion 3D file here. Step files are kind of interesting. They're kind of like XML. You can kind of step through here and see all the code. It reminds me of SVG. But anyway, if you go to the main page, Adafruit CAD parts, the way it's broken out is the product number, the product ID is first, followed by the name of the object or the item. So you can see here, Joy Bonnet over here is 3464, Gemma M0, 3501, and so on and so forth. If you have any parts that you would like to contribute, please do so. You can do a pull request, I believe it's called, and you can help us build a library of CAD parts. Thank you so much for contributing. Let's go back over to the guide. Actually, I'm going to go over to the learning. I'm going to go over the overhead. We're going to look at some parts. This is the Rover in its simplest form. We've got 2 wheels, a third one. Let's talk about that third wheel. So in the video, we show one way to create a caster wheel. This is another way to create a caster wheel. So this is a couple different parts, right? All right, so let's look at this first part here, right? This is called, can you take those 2 parts? That's actually 4 parts. Okay, we're gonna take it apart.
There's so many parts actually.
Yeah, let's just focus on this guy here, okay? Let's move this so we can focus on just that. That right there is 4 parts. It's a sub-assembly. So you have the wheels that are removable, then you have the rims, and then you have the actual kind of hub, the axle itself. And you see that it has a 2x4 kind of brick configuration on the top. And those are, what are those, crass axles? I have never taken those apart before. But anyway, they came with our airplane kit. It's one of those jumbo jets. Mm-hmm. They also come with this space shuttle kit. They come with a bunch of different kits. But if you just want to buy 1 brick or 2 bricks, very specialized bricks, there's a website called BrickLink, bricklink.com. If you go to bricklink.com, it's basically like the Craigslist of Lego parts. Mm-hmm. So you can search for Lego bits, and you can you bid on them? I don't know. I think you just,
those are sellers, all like resellers, yeah.
There's a ton of resellers. I really like how they had this laid out. Folks from Germany, Belgium, the US, United Kingdom, all over the world, Poland, Netherlands. They're all over here. This is the part. It's got quite a name. Plate modified 2x2 thin with dual wheel holder split pins with light brush gray, white, and black tires.
You kind of have to.
It's there's insane.
So many different variations.
Yeah. I'm not trying to scare people away like, oh my God, look, there's too many pieces. They do, but that's a good thing.
That's the beauty of it.
Yeah. I didn't know what these pieces were. I had to look it up. I just came with my kit, and I guess when you kind of build a few Lego kits, you start building up all these extra pieces, because they do give you extra pieces. Mm-hmm. And I was able to kludge this together with those extra bits.
Yeah, yeah.
So that was really
cannibalize
nice.
Some of the kit stacks.
I did have to do that, yeah. So anyway, if you look at this tab over here, it says part inventory. You'll see all the parts that are actually making this thing. So we have the actual holder, the axle, the 2 wheels, and the 2 rims. So those are what makes that together. We also have a turntable. Pedro's trying to take that apart. I told you not to take it apart. This is 2 pieces. That's a top part and a lower part. They snap together. They have a little kind of connector in the middle, in the center of those 2 pieces. And it just kind of gets held in place. You kind of have to squeeze those teeny little pieces together. I really didn't think that this would have enough kind of heft to hold the Rover in place. It did. It had enough. 4x4 bricks has a lot of force to it. So there you go. Pedro just took it apart. There's 2 pieces.
I believe these were actually in some of the swivel chairs.
Yeah, I've seen them in swivel chairs, but I don't know what else I've seen it in. Heading back over to the BrickLink website, this is the top part, 2x2 plate, turntable top. It's got a simple name. It's also they also have part numbers associated with them. And then this is the lower part of it. You do have to get them separately. And they come in a ridiculous amount of colors and choices. That's kind of neat. So yeah, and then it tells you when it was released in 1977. From 1977. Wow. Pretty neat. Tells you the size and the weight. It's 4 grams. Appears in, wow, they tell you how many it appears. This is an incredible site, guys.
It's really good.
Yeah, if you're a Lego enthusiast, you probably know about this. I'm kind of new to the game. Mm-hmm. But you've actually placed some orders here, I want to say?
Yeah, a couple of orders for some of the under supporting parts. It's like an inverted, which I did not bring. Actually, I have
special
stability for like wheels. It would like go underneath, and it would like hold this to this bottom plate.
I know exactly what you're talking about. They connect the bottom tubes together, basically.
Usually
gives it more sturdy.
Used for like wheel parts to really hold them in place.
Yeah. That way when you kind of do this number, they don't Just snap it over.
And if you're lucky enough to live close to one of the Lego stores, they actually just sell these in their parts bin.
That's right, yeah.
So you can just get those there.
Yeah, next time I go to the Lego store, I'm going to buy some stuff. I got some things. All right, so that's the caster wheel. The way I have it here set up is that I do need to elevate it a little bit. So I got these extra bricks to kind of elevate it off. So if you look at this camera angle, you can get a good look at how kind of flush it needs to be. Or not flush, but how level it needs to be. Just kind of wedge some extra bricks in there just to level out the two wheels. Let's talk about the wheels themselves. So the wheels themselves, help me out here, this one. So the wheels, we have these, so let's take one off. This is a 56 by 26 wheel. Kind of comes with the monster kit. You'll see that the way it connects is with this cross axle. Take a look at that little plus sign there. That is to allow one of these guys to fit in there. This is a cross axle that we sell in the shop, and it's customly, it's custom designed for fitting exactly on these anything with a Lego cross axle connector insert. So those come in there. And then this piece here is like a hub that connects directly to the motor. Problem is, if you want to buy one, good luck, they're out of stock. So we 3D printed one. This is what it looks like. It's nice to be able to have one on hand because I could do exact fittings. So this was printed with a 0.2 nozzle using a 0.1 millimeter layer height. Very, very fine print. And it's pretty strong. I'm not going to break it, but you probably could break it if you put enough stress on it. So I would probably recommend printing this in some sort of nylon, copolyester, maybe ABS. But so far it's working okay for PLA. And when you're switching around different materials and different nozzles and profiles, you tend to get different results. So you'll print the same file on one machine, you print it again on another machine, and it's completely different. So you do have to play around with some tolerances there with some of your slice settings. So this just comes off like that. Has a nice press fit to it. Again, printed at a 0.1 layer height with a 0.25 nozzle. This fits right over there. And then I can put the tire back on there, hopefully. Oh no, took out the rim. See, this one has a really, really tight fit, and that's a kind of a good thing because your tolerances will the more you take the thing apart, I think the more the tolerances are going to get loose, at least with PLA. Maybe not so much with ABS. So I'm going to put this on now. Hopefully it fits like that. Yeah, it turns. You also have these little connector locks, like little lock nuts sort of. These are the cross axle type. These are all Lego pieces here. These were not 3D printed. And that connects there. So we got this nice motion there. So yeah, it's really nice to kind of have this cross axle adapter for the TT motor. When they do get in stock, I probably get a bunch of these because I don't want to be printing these. They take about 30 minutes to print. It's such a small piece, but because again you're using a really small layer height, even smaller nozzle, I didn't even want to attempt to print this with a 0.4 nozzle with a regular printer setup. If you have access to a resin printer, I bet this would come out really nice. The accuracy on those machines are really nice. So there you go. Got my little Lego thing. It's all part of the sort of STLs that are in this group of parts that we published on Thingiverse and GitHub. So you can get those if you want to adapt your Lego style rims to these wheels. So let's see if it works still. I think my battery's running a little low.
This is actually good since we can catch it if it tries to get off the table.
Yeah, it might. I tried to program it to not fall off the table. Hey,
it's staying right within the bounds. Very cool.
Yeah. So once you got your thing set up, how do you program it? Well, we're using MakeCode, Microsoft's MakeCode. So runs in the browser, and it's block-based code editor. So we'll probably take a look at it now, and we'll take a look at the sketch real quick. am I going to do this? Oh yeah, I have a thing here. Hey, there's your simulator playing. Those are some of the sound effects that I got going on. So this is one of the first projects I put together that uses functions. Functions to me are just kind of a group of different code blocks. It's kind of like putting them in a folder. That way you can kind of create a bunch of different functions, rearrange them to make different movements and interactions. So in this case, let's take a look at this first one called head turn. This one's controlling the servo. So to get CRICKIT working with MakeCode, the first thing you want to do is go to under advanced. You want to open that, and then there's an extensions category. Click on that. You get a bunch of extensions. One of them, it just got out of beta. It's called CRICKIT. So you click on that and it installs it. And then you have a block here called CRICKIT. Click on that, and all of your code blocks are segmented pertaining to the component. So in this case, we have all the things that work with servos, motors, the drives, the signals, NeoPixels, and stepper. NeoPixel here is for external NeoPixels because there's a NeoPixel screw block terminal. So if you want to have a strip, an external strip of NeoPixels, you can use this. If you're using your regular NeoPixels on board the Circuit Playground Express, you probably want to use these guys here and under the light category. So you can use those. So under CRICKIT, I put together a little head motion for AdaBot here using this guy here, the set servo. So you basically just say what servo number you want, what angle do you want it, and then I'm using the pause block to create sort of duration between these two movements. So going from 180 to 0, we're just kind of turning the head. And then let's take a look at another one for spinning. For actually moving the motors, there's this one called tank motors, CRICKIT tank motors, and that just lets you use, lets you control both of the motors with one block. So the first motor is, I'm going to say the left one, and the second value is the right one. If you want to go backwards, you can use this slider here to go a negative value, to go reverse. Positive value goes forward. And depending on the orientation of your motor, you need to figure out what is, what is forward and what is backwards. In my case, backwards is actually forwards because of the way I had it set up. So by making one motor go a full positive value and then the next motor going a whole negative value, you basically create this spinning motion is what I have here set up. You can create a whole bunch of them. So you want to go forwards, you want to go backwards, you want to do a left turn, a right turn. You can use functions to create a whole bunch of these guys, a whole bunch of different movements, and then use those functions, call them in the forever loop so that you can basically play them back to back. So if I want to rearrange these, I wanted to have the light cycle come first, I could put that up there or rearrange any of them how I see fit. Or you could use even the drop down here to pick from the list of the function. And to create a function, it's really easy. Just come down here, the functions, click the create functions, and you can name it whatever you want. Don't let the function name scare you. It's just a folder to my eyes. And then for start, on start, I'm setting the NeoPixel brightness to 20 because it's eye blinding, and the volume to 128, just a little bit louder, so it's not so quiet. That's pretty much it. I'm still learning a lot, and I think there's a lot of opportunity to use the actual sensors on board the Circuit Playground to do maybe edge detection or remote control, that sort of stuff. I'm not there yet, but we'll get there. And there's some great examples already out there on the learning system, so please do check those out. All right, that's my MakeCode minute.
Hey, while you're in Make,
yes,
Liz was asking how we do the green screen for that. I can't find the tutorial on that, but we can quickly show you where the option to turn that on is.
Absolutely. So there's a gear over here. Click on the gear. There is a green screen button right here. It's super easy, right? So I'm going to click off, and then it goes away. That's all it's doing is just turning the background green. It even gives you an ability to use your camera as the background, which is what Phil has played around with. But I just click on the green background, and then inside of Wirecast, I have a key effect that keys out a color. You tell it what color to key out, and it gets rid of it. You'll notice that our blocks are green, or at least a shade of green, so I had to really tweak the threshold to get it to still show up and not be completely invisible. So there's some nuances there. You could do this with open broadcast software, OBS. They have the same type of keying thing. But that's how it's done. Yeah. Shout out to MakeCode for actually doing that for us.
This was actually a request from PT. We'll ask them to do this for all of the video stuff.
Whoop, whoop.
And I think
Good
Moo
question.
as well has the ability to do this as well.
Moo as well, yes. Moo, the Circuit Python editor. Yep, that one's a cool one. So, let's jump over back to the Learn Guide. We're basically talking about 3D printed stuff and then MakeCode stuff. And inside the MakeCode stuff, I really wanted to break this down in the guide. So if we look at the guide, we never set up your Circuit Playground Express or your CRICKIT with MakeCode. I basically wrote it all out in instructional format. It's really good. Really easy to kind of digest it, I think, too. So I walk through that. I walk through installing the extension, and then walk through the different code blocks that I have set up here. So I talk about the onStart and forever, the CRICKIT code blocks, using functions, basically everything we just talked about. So it's all in written format here, which is nice. And then we get on to the actual assembly. So I'm going to run through these pretty quick. Base plate basically walks you through how to assemble the base plate, what's the right orientation, what screws do you want to use for what, and then setting up the Circuit Playground Express onto the CRICKIT with the included standoffs, and then getting that onto the faceplate. So that one's pretty simple and straightforward. It comes down to the motor assembly. You want to have all your parts sorted and sourced before you start building this thing. You want to get the things assembled, make sure your glue cures before you start messing with them. Get these really long screws for the TT motors. Originally I wasn't going to use screws, but they kept kind of slipping out of the box a little bit, so the screws really do hold them in there forever. Not forever, but you can take them out. And then figuring out your wheel assembly, what wheels do you want to use, and how much height do you need to apply to your motor. Do you need to add more bricks to it to elevate it? I did that in the second one I did. Getting your Lego caster wheel together. Now you could pick an off-the-shelf caster wheel. We sell a couple different caster wheels, and then maybe you could adapt those to Lego. But I did have a bunch of Lego parts. I was like, let me see if I can, kludge one together. And this is the one I ended up using, the more of the tube connector one. Yeah, and then figuring out where to install your caster wheel. It really depends on how you laid out the motors on the bottom of the faceplate. Installing the battery is pretty straightforward. I used some Lego bricks to kind of keep it in the center in between those standoffs. And I just bolted the CRICKIT board right on top of it.
Luckily, the battery fits right within the stud count.
It really does. That's really nice.
Happy accident.
Yeah, and the extra wires, the wires are like the perfect length. I could not have asked for better wires, 'cause I don't like having to cut wires and splice them and shorten them. You don't have to do any soldering here, which is really nice. Not just because I don't like soldering. I like soldering, but I also like not having to film soldering, because that's very difficult. A lot of head in the way. Anyway, that's how you install the battery. You see it's got a lot of room in between there, so that's where you really want to have that assortment pack of standoffs, brass ones. Let's talk about the servo assembly really quick, just kind of putting those pieces together. Yeah. Did we talk about the pieces yet? Like these? I don't think we did we?
No,
yeah. Okay, so what I recommend before printing this whole giant faceplate and then realizing nothing fits, you definitely want to print out one of these pieces as a sort of a test and do some test fittings with this. So this is the piece that goes with the servo, right? You'll notice that they're the tubes. They actually snap on top of regular studs. So this is a real Lego brick, well, sort of a faceplate. And then what you can do is you should print this out and test fit it and see how well it fits with the tolerances. This is a perfect fit where you actually get that click, and this is really flush with the surface here. And then to get it out, it should not be so hard. You should be able to get your fingernail in there and just kind of pop it out as well. So that works out really well. Took quite a bit of time to get this one to print right, just modifying the line width to get this right. And again, I used 1.1 millimeter layer height and a 0.25 nozzle, because the tests I kept doing with the 0.4 nozzle, they just weren't working out so well. I knew that the more layers I had, the better sort of fittings I would get. So there's that part. Another part you want to test. We did this one actually.
Okay.
Yeah, but thanks for taking
fresh
off
the bed.
Yeah, it's fresh off the bed. Sweet. You also want to print this piece. This is a 4x6 faceplate. It doesn't have a bottom because this is 3D printed. Again, 0.1 layer height, 0.25 nozzle. You get really, really fine details on that, on those studs. You can even barely make out that there's a little fillet on the top of those studs there. Gosh, camera. What's this in the background? Again, you want to have some real Lego bricks to kind of test your 3D print with before printing that giant faceplate. And these fit in, again, like that. Really nice fittings. You want to have an assortment of different bricks too, and kind of see what, if anything, has a slight angle to it. And to adjust it in CAD is easy, but it's also easier to do it in the slice setting, in your slice settings. So you can play around with that. There's also a setting called horizontal expansion, which just kind of either puffs in or flares out the features. But I would really recommend kind of doing it in Fusion. All right, so those are the parts. You definitely want to do that. This is what the motor mount looks like. I've been playing with this filament. It's called Vertigo. Yeah, Galaxy Vertigo Black, and it's from Filamentum. You might stock this stuff. It's kind of nice. It's got a good price point. And it's got a pretty decent look to it when it's focused. There's the bottom, printed on glass, Ultimaker. Gosh, I just can't focus today. Quite literally. There you go. That's it. Gosh. All right. Well, yeah. If anybody got any cool questions, let me know. We can answer them now.
I'd rather have focusing problems than audio problems.
Yeah, that's true. No audio problems so far.
John was asking what the coupon code was for today. It's Rover.
Yay, Rover.
It's 10% off on
Rover,
everything except
gift
subscriptions
certificates
and gift certificates.
Yes, sir. Let's take a look real quick at some products. So again, the DC motor out of stock. You could print one. Circuit Playground Express is in stock.
Yay.
If you're out of them, you can pick some up.
People are also asking where to get the CRICKIT. Go ahead over to DIGIKEY. I did post the link in there.
Excellent. Yep, DIGIKEY, they got 270. Can ship immediately.
Go ahead and refresh. Let's see what it's down to now.
Same, man. Oh, the same. I don't know if that updates quickly.
It's live updating, yeah.
Yeah, but anyway, yep, they're in stock there. That's who bought them all. Do I have other products? I don't think so. I think that was it.
Probably like the servos or the TT motors.
Yeah, TT motors are in stock. They are in stock. You can just go over here, type in TT motor. These are in stock. Yay! These are great. $3. We also have them in metal.
Yeah. Different ratios though for the turning.
That's just true. All right, cool. Well, that's the project.
In the chat, Andy Calloway saying, yeah, it looks like granite for the little sparkles on Filamentum.
Yeah.
And a big ups from Liz saying that Filamentum is awesome.
Yeah, we should stock it then.
Should look for other colors to test out. The black looks really cool.
Yeah,
I like it.
Got a lot of great colors and great social media presence. Cool. So let's switch it up. We're doing, what is Pedro working on?
That's right. This week's, what are we prototyping? So last week I showed off super cute little Hans that I was going to modify. This works with the Nintendo Switch. You add the Joy-Cons on the side and you can control him moving around. Got around to updating the size so it would fit with the CRICKIT. So I was going to mount that on the inside, but as I was working on it, if you want to run the video for the schnapps.
Let's run the video.
I was creating the mount. I was going to have it just buzz around. And when you look at it, it looks like propellers, doesn't it? Yeah. So I was like, totally abandoned the Hans. I will release it though as like a quick project.
You abandoned Hans?
I'll get back to it, but yeah, I want to talk about your side note here. This really cool
the screwdriver.
The screwdriver
to end all screwdrivers.
So it's super cool, little screwdriver there, although it can't make threads.
It's not powerful enough.
But I put together a simple little water rover, since we have not made any little water robots.
It's struggling. Oh wait, it's working.
Yeah, so I started off hooking it up to the motor pins on the CRICKIT, and then Noah suggested just moving it over to the drive section of that, and then the DC toy motors were able to pull a lot more power off of that, and yay, it worked.
Yay. So use the drive if your motor isn't powerful enough. So they give you a little bit more current using the Darlington chip instead of the motor driver.
Go ahead to the overhead. So we got Ninja Flex seals for holding the motor in place.
It's waterproof a little bit, isn't it?
Yeah, pretty water resistant. We're using the waterproof case. Excuse the broken adaptation here. I'm going to swap this out. I actually broke a button on it. Yeah, and we're actually going to use the right angle barrel jack, so it's completely all nice and sealed. And what I actually want to use this for is as a sort of like a slider, but for underwater.
Yeah, sort of a drifter.
Sort of like a drifter, yeah. So we have a little GoPro attachment using all of the camera parts that we have in the shop. Our little, what's it called? The ball mount, swivel ball head mount. The 1/4 to 1/4, so it goes inside. You can kind of see the metal part here. It's 20 to 20, so it's like two ends. You can actually go grab one because I don't want to take this apart. And then the 3/8 to 1/4 adapter, it's actually holding this on to the bottom portion of that. Got some pool noodles that are being held in place, and that's where the motors are being mounted to that. Turn it off, you can see a super simple little paddle design that's propelling this across the water. And of course, then just Ninja Flex seal for the DC jack, so you can't get any water inside there. Everything's pretty sealed up. But you can still take this apart, get inside of it, reprogram your CRICKIT in Circuit Playground Express. So I think it'll be a nice little slider type project for like underwater videography, photography.
Sweet. I like the use of pool noodles.
Yeah,
so pool noodles are dollar store purchase. They float. You could use bottles, but I think the pool noodle is a little bit more elegant. Definitely need the pool noodles. Then figuring out how long they need to be to, balance out this sort of a heavy robot. I didn't think you could float this guy. Yeah, I didn't think he would float. He's a little bit too heavy. But what do I know about fluid dynamics?
Or buoyancy or whatever.
Whatever it is.
Yeah, so this is actually based off the mount that you created for the CRICKIT. All I did was modified it so it would enclose a CPX inside of there and have enough room to have all of the components on the side there. So we'll take a look at this probably next week or the week after is when I'll complete testing this out.
Can you print it in yellow? Let's make it yellow.
A yellow
submarine.
We totally should. I think Filamentum has some nice little metallic yellow.
So the battery does fit on top. I mean, sit on top, and it'll kind of remain there, right? Yeah, and it's a 3 AA pack, right? So it's a little bit smaller.
There's silicone sealing on the inside.
It is our waterproof version. It has a built-in button. You can submerge it. The battery holder, anyway.
As you saw in the preview, it works.
They're safe batteries. They're not the light poly high density ones or your nickel hydrate batteries.
So take a look as code becomes available for the CRICKIT Feather. So maybe put a Wi-Fi or Bluetooth controlled.
Bluetooth control would be ideal.
Yeah, Bluetooth controlled little.
Your mounts were printed sort of an all-in-one piece, right?
Yeah,
the noodle mount.
Yeah. So this is
also houses. There you go.
So I got a new version of this I'll be trying out to lift the motors a little bit higher to see if that helps with making it speed up a little bit in the water.
Schwanky. Cool. Yeah, all those various holes and stuff will mount the other pieces. The other pieces would be the actual motor sleeves and the propellers, right?
They're saying yellow, but not yellow and black. Fluke has that covered. Yeah, I'll definitely want to try that out. But yeah, we'll take a look at how this was all made.
The GoPro is what is it? The Session.
Oh yeah, it's just the Session.
Completely waterproof. So getting underwater footage.
Yeah, so definitely for like conservation, environmental scientists. There's like
surveying
like ponds, lakes, and all that. Seeing how the aquatic life is hanging out. Yeah. So we'll take a look at this next week.
Excellent.
Really cool little water-based CRICKIT Rover.
Yeah. Yeah, I think there's some things we can do to speed it up. I think you covered them already, but elevating the mounting so that the propellers aren't in the water so much. That we get a little bit more, or a little bit less friction maybe. We'll see. We'll keep playing around with different things. That was fun.
Next up on Community Makes.
Yeah, let's do some community makes. We got some cool projects from the community. We'll start off with a really classic one that you put together with Phil B. Thank you, Dana Wall, our very own Dana Wall, who works at Adafruit in the manufacturing team, and fellow learning guide author. He put a make of the LED animated sand using the feather matrix, LED matrix, Charlie Plexed matrix. This is the swivel swavel one. Yeah, we got a learn guide. He printed on his replicator too. Really nice to see that it's still working. And says it's a really rewarding project. Definitely want to make one of these. These are cool. Yeah, a lot of fun. Shout out to Phil B for collaborating with us on this. It was his idea. Next one, this is sort of a fan suggested. A couple years ago, we put together this cosplay weapon from the anime Ruby. Yeah, Ruby. This is Lyran's Stormflower. Lyran is one of the characters. The Stormflower is the weapon. It's kind of a big gun. It's kind of like a gun blade, but like a pistol blade. A couple pieces together, 3D printed with no supports. We have our version has electronics in it. It's got the NeoPixel. You trigger, you fire off these nice little blasts of NeoPixel light. It's pretty cool. Printed on a duplicator A3. Next one, this is a sort of a classic favorite, Wi-Fi weather station using the Adafruit TFT wing, the 2.4 TFT, and the ESP32, not 32, 8266, the older one. Printed it out, worked out real well. Shout out to Tiki Shark, who posted this on Thingiverse. Printed on the i3 MK3 Pro Shop. Yeah,
this one's super fun, super useful.
Super useful. Mine still works.
Nice use of practical 3D printing there.
I can't believe the library is still run.
I think they updated it recently.
Yeah. Oh no. This one of my favorite ones. This is really cool. This is from Caitlin's dad. This is
love this project.
Yeah, it's a very crafty project. I love his little Domokun characters.
Do they look familiar?
I don't know. I feel like I've seen them before, but yeah, this guy has a cool hat with his name on it, and he has a skateboard with LEDs on it, and then you can see
it says your name right on that hat.
No, this is Ro, R-O-E, and he's got some clippable pins. I want to say maybe they're clippable, maybe not. You got the serial data and serial clock here, ground, 5 volt, analog 2 and 3 here. And then this guy over here, he's got these Snapchat glasses. He's got a drone. The drone has a light in it, and it has a claw.
I love how he turned us into
characters.
Look at
this stitching, yeah. This is really cool. You can see a video here. Put that on mute so we don't get banned. Yeah, they're actually light up bags for summertime. Summer camp swag. Light up, drawstring.
It's so cool because I didn't know what characteristics make us up, and I think he captured it perfectly with the drone and the claw, my glasses, and
it is
having you on the skateboard with your hat.
Yeah. We're these little short round monsters with sharp teeth.
He even calls it Noe-kun.
We have a shout out to the Hangout. He put this together from a shipping bag. This is great. It's just really nice crafts. Cutting different pieces of fabric and layering them on top. Very reminiscent to something paper crafty, like
That's so cool.
when you're using solid shapes. Very cool. Yeah, stitching, really nice. So check out this guide. It's an instructable. Also, pro tip: sign up, log in, no ads. Double pro tip. What is it? Pi-hole? Pi-hole ad blocker. Super cool. So there is the project. Very cool. Shout out to Caitlin's dad. And we should also probably do something for Caitlin's dad. This is a special one. Ready? Move out of the frame.
What? Oh,
this is for you, Caitlin's dad. It's a clean plate. Ready? And
there
back.
you go.
All right, here we go. There you go. That's just for you. All right, we got one last thing. Huge shout out to Greg Zumwalt, master designer, engineer. He put together his own boat, dual extruded, Ultimaker 3, using a Wi-Fi board of sorts. Thing's awesome. This is a paddle boat, Wi-Fi paddle boat.
This is actually one of the things that got me inspired to actually go ahead and try the boat as well.
Yeah, this is super cute too. You're able to stuff all these, he was able to stuff all these things. You kind of need some heavy duty electronics though.
Yeah.
Not heavy duty, but you know what I mean. RC quality.
Check out the quality of this.
Yeah.
I really like the theming around it. Nice little boat.
Yeah.
And it's all Wi-Fi.
Colonial style kind of boat. Steamboat. Would it be a steamboat? Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like a steamboat.
Yeah, it's got the chimneys.
Mm-hmm.
This thing's going.
It also has another really cool one that we showed off as this week's Time-lapse Tuesday.
That's right. Let's go to the Time-lapse Tuesday. Oh, you have to put a GoPro on it.
Yes.
That's what we're going to try to do.
Another thing that also got me interested was, hey.
Yeah, so check it out. This is a great
Water
project.
slider.
Maybe we'll build it. Well, we're kind of building our own version of it.
Mm-hmm.
So let's run through the Time-lapse Tuesday video. We pick designs from the community. This one, this again, is from Greg Zumwalt. He designed this boat. It's a sort of a propeller boat.
Mm-hmm.
Uses a rubber band for propulsion. And it's just a couple shells thick.
It's about 2 shells. I should have did 3 though, because it did have some water leakage, but it did perform excellent.
There is a ball bearing in the propeller that keeps it super straight. The ball bearing is rubber sealed. It can rust, but you know, it's still rubber sealed.
Actually, the one that we've been using since the
It hasn't
not
rusted? Perfect.
Yeah.
I did rust one, and I think it's because I cleaned it out with alcohol and took all the grease out.
You removed the sealing on it. So here's what it looks like. Nice dual extrusion print. Takes quite a while to print. If you want to do the dual extrusion version of this, you do have to rotate it in like at a 45-degree
oh, for the Ultimaker 3.
The Ultimaker 3, yeah.
It's fairly long, but still narrow enough to fit on the bed.
Yep, we're using the extra large rubber bands to act as propulsion. As you said, I forget the diameter of the bearing for this, but we picked up a couple since they are actually smaller than the ones that we're used to, the, what is it, the 6080 ones for a skateboard?
608 are the ones we stock.
And then I'm just using a impact drill here to give it some spinning power, and it does a really good job of pushing it through the water. Nice little design propeller as well. I do have to use support material to print the propeller since it is printing vertically, and you kind of see what the bottom of the propellers looks like with the support material on there.
Yep.
But all in all, this is a really cool boat.
Yep.
I did get, like I said, a couple of leaks of water in here, but it was able to drain out and just left it outside. In the hot sun, did not melt, using the melt ink on here. We also had this like thrown on the bottom of Gavin's toy bin. And
so a lot of weight's been on it. It doesn't look warped at all.
And it's fairly, like, it's not that thick.
No,
it's pretty thin,
yeah.
so definitely use some good filament on there. It's just the melt ink here. We're using the red and the yellow, and the green for the back.
Yeah, regular 0.2 layer height, 0.4 nozzles.
Yep, nothing fancy.
Except it's dual extruded. That's kind of fancy.
Oh, yeah.
You didn't use a purge tower or a prime tower?
Nope.
No waste, really?
And
a little
the
bit
dual
cleanup.
extrusion on that is pretty clean.
Let me do that for you. Yeah, it's not too bad. A little bit of contamination here and there.
A little bit,
But, I mean, those are pretty fine details for this sort of thing. Making graphics on the Z is always a little tough.
And he also has a single extrusion version as well. That should print a lot more faster.
Yeah, I printed that one too.
Super cool little boat design while it's still summer here in the States.
Yeah, it was fun to
some cool toys.
It's fun to print that. All right, well, those are the projects we took a look at. I don't have Greg's. Oh wait, I could just pull it up through his page. So check out Greg on Thingiverse.
Lots of
download his designs.
Lots of animatrons.
Let me just see if I can send him some Adafruit stuff his way. Let's see. Oops, I was over here. Forward. There it is. All right, Greg Zumwalt. Here's the link. G Zumwalt. This is the tube slaw that we printed. He also made a different style one. Did you see that one?
I did not.
Yeah, I know. He's always cranking out great designs.
Oh, wow.
Look at this one.
That's cool. A paddle boat type one.
Another one.
Wow.
Yeah, it uses a... what does it use? Maybe not a ball bearing?
It was so cool.
Oh,
wow, it's
quicker.
a lot more faster.
Yeah.
So if you check it out, I think he's actually designing these for the...
Fabtusla.org.
Yeah, so like boat races they have. Like
They asked him to
race.
design a boat.
Really cool.
Yeah, I'm not sure what
Definitely
this is.
check all
But
those out.
it looks cool. Looks like kids are making stuff. I'm down. Cool. So check out Greg Zumwalt on Thingiverse. Good stuff. And if you'd like to share your designs with us, you can do so by coming on the show and tell. We're doing a show and tell tonight at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Shortly after that, we'll do Ask Engineer. Not we, but Lamar and Phil will do Ask Engineer. We'll hear all about the stuff that's available in the worlds of open source and hardware and more. Hope Conference is going on right now.
Yeah,
or no, it's already over.
Should be some really cool stories from that. And then tomorrow, don't forget to check out John Park's workshop. He's back
John Park is
working on, I think,
John
more
Park
Lego stuff. So
more
definitely
Lego stuff?
tune in for that. More CRICKIT,
Sweet.
Lego. Don't miss out. And of course, the very popular Make Minute will be on as well.
Sweet. Cool. Quick programming note. You've been watching 3D Hangouts. It happens on a Wednesday?
It used to happen on a Thursday.
It used to happen on a Thursday for some reason. Anyway.
Don't forget, coupon code ROVER if you want to save 10% off in your order. Don't forget, freebies are back until supplies last, while supplies last.
That's right.
And I want to thank everybody for joining us. Again, all of your purchases goes to everybody here at Adafruit.
Yay.
Thank you all for
Venture
supporting.
free, venture capital free.
That's right. So we can do crazy projects like this.
Stuff. Puppet shows and more. Well, thank you guys so much. We really appreciate you guys hanging out with us today. And we'll be on there tonight.
Next week.
Good
Don't
luck
forget to
with
follow us on all the
everybody's
socials. You can
projects.
see all the behind the scenes, everything we're working on.
Sure.
And we'll see you guys next week. Don't forget to make an awesome day.
Yeah, don't forget we're on Discord so we can hang out there.
Yes,
If you got
that is there.
any project help or just want to share your project with us.
Yes.
Discord's a great place to do it. Sorry I had to do that, but I had to throw it in there. All right, as Peter said, don't forget, make a great day. Thanks, guys.
See you next week, guys.
We'll leave you with your moment of fail.